Hi, my name's Andrew McIlwain. I'm the Managing Director of Investigator Resources. Investigator Resources is an Australian-listed resource company. Our main focus and asset at the moment is our Paris Silver Project in South Australia. We've recently presented to the market a PFS that shows robust economics, and we're now on a path to take that project forward, including some of our regional exploration opportunities as well.
Andrew, good to see you. I haven't seen you since July. Wanted to catch up, end of year roundup, and the PFS is a good place to start. Do you want to remind us of some of those numbers?
Sure. Hi, Matt. And look, it is a great place. And in those last 6 months, we've been like the proverbial swan, not doing much on the surface, but plenty happening under the water. So the PFS numbers came out, and we have a resource of 53 million ounces of silver. So look, $1.5 billion worth of silver in the ground. So if you want direct silver exposure, if you're thinking silver, you should be thinking Investigator. But the PFS numbers we put together is about a 9 million tonne operation that delivers about 26 or 7 million ounces of silver. Importantly, try and put that in gold terms. This is a sort of a 400,000 ounce gold project at about 2 grams. All-in sustaining cost is $17 Australian, so just a whisker over 50% of the current price at $31. So really robust financials, but importantly, some of the work we're going to do going forward is how we bring some of the lead revenue to the table as well, and that'll make a marked difference to the economics.
Okay, the thing about this project, we've discussed this before, is scale, right? The economics are great to a point, but you're going to need to show the market you've got the scale, you've got the a decent life of mine, that there's somewhere to go with this. I mean, how do you go about doing that? What else do you need to do?
Sure. Look, it's very, like all projects, very sensitive to operating costs. And if we can either increase the revenue or bring the operating costs down, then the resource that we consume will be much greater. One of the things we have done is, in fact, we've mined it faster, or we're planning to mine it faster than you typically would. We were looking for 1 million tonne per annum option, but there's a significant change in the mining cost for us to mine it at 2 million tonnes per annum. And that's why it's a bit shorter mine life. What we're doing now is we're going to start to do the regional exploration work. We've also got some bits around the pit that will add life to the project as well.
So, but is this just an Aussie-only investment opportunity? Because you look at investors around the world, they're investing in multiple exchanges in commodities of their choice. You, compared to the South American options, are going to be on the smaller side of things. So again, are you just trying to appeal to the home market, or do you think that you can make this, competitive globally?
Sure. Look, it is an issue about being representing scale against, as you say, some of the South American silver producers. Look, in Australia, we are by far the highest grade project in Australia. International interest is great. 15% of our shares, our major shareholder is a UK-based precious metals fund. So, while some people say if you're in North America, you've got to be on an OTC or something, easy enough to buy Aussie shares. And I said, if you want to be invested in silver, then it's have a look at our share price following the silver price chart.
Okay, so the other component to this is lead, obviously, and as a byproduct, or which may help the economics. You've got a bit of met work to do to try and understand if you're going to be able to do that, though, don't you?
Look, absolutely. And I suppose when I got involved in Investigator, the challenge about this project was a number of things about bringing a resource together that was defensible, and then finding a viable metallurgical process for us to economically develop this project. So we focus simply on the silver revenue component. We've done the homework, worked out how we can increase the recovery from the silver, and just on the silver economics alone, this project delivers a 54% IRR. It's got a net present value of in excess of $200 million. We have a $100 million market cap. So pretty good metrics. 100,000 tonnes of lead that's not even considered in the financials at the moment. We'll do some test work on how we can float some of this lead. It's a bit challenging because it's not as easy as a typical lead-only project. But I can tell you that if we have put into our financial model a little bit of lead, it makes a huge difference to the return on this project.
Yeah, okay. And I appreciate you don't want to run before you can walk, sort of thing. So you kind of got to get Paris up and running. But I'm trying to get a sense of, and maybe we should talk about how you're going to deliver that into 2022 first. But where I want to go is, where's the ambition? What do you want to do with the money that you're going to be generating? How does this thing grow? What do you start looking at some of the other projects, and if so, when? So let's start with how you set yourself up for 2022 with Paris.
Okay, great question, because what I needed to do was make sure the naysayers were able to see a path forward. We've got a really simple foundation with this project. Simple processing delivers a good return, and then we'll build on that. We're going to do that. We will in February be out drilling around Paris, and we have some extensions to the pit that we'll drill. But within 5 kilometres, we've actually got 4 targets that we've been back to twice already. We're going back a third time to start to drill those a bit more heavily, more densely, so that we can understand whether we can bring that ore or that material into the Paris project. But interestingly enough, 40 kilometres to the east, we also have another project called Morgans, and in fact we start drilling there next Wednesday, and it's a zinc silver opportunity. It's had a couple of holes into it. It's got some great geophysics, and as I said, for the want of money in the past, no one's been out there. As I said, we start drilling there on Wednesday, and that's a prospect within clear trucking distance of Paris as well. So we're starting to look at this hub and spoke type approach to putting a bigger project together.
Okay. And so how much are you allocating to the exploration budget?
Next year, we'll spend probably about $4 million on exploration. And people go, oh yeah. So we actually ran the biggest drill program in South Australia last year, and that's alongside BHP and Oz Minerals and so on. It was the biggest program. We drilled 30,000 metres. We've certainly in the South Australian terms, we've got our name up in lights. We'll back that up this year, probably with about the same, about 25,000 metres.
Okay, that's going some.
Yeah,
it's pretty good. So just on the PFS in terms of this whole setup for next year, obviously it's giving you some of the information that you want, and it's kind of demonstrated to the market the economics around this, and you needed to, I say, put that flag in the sand for people to go, like, we do have something, we do know what we're doing here. How quickly do you move through the next phases of studies to a point where there's an FID?
Sure. So one of the things that we'll do next year is we're straight into drilling, as I said, close to the pit. That'll generate around about 2 tonnes of material that we'll use for metallurgical bulk samples as well, testing as well. So that's how do we get lead out of this beast, and can we tune up the silver anymore? So that's the first part. Drilling, assay, and met test work is probably a 3 to 4 month process. Assay turnarounds in Australia now are going out to 8 weeks, 10 weeks. So that's part of the challenge for us. That said, so we've got some work happening on some of the samples we've already got, and that'll, as I said, push forward to do we have a processing plant that needs to be a different construct to be able to get the lead out, and I'm certain that we will. But in parallel with that, we're also running, in fact, 2 weeks' time, I'm meeting with the regulator, starting the permitting process for advancing this to a mining lease, which we need. We're out on the ground with the traditional owners, also clearing some of the heritage sites that we need to have acknowledged to be able to get a permit from the traditional owners to operate in that region as well. Long answer to a quick question, which is 12 months of work to complete the DFS and the financial investment decision at the end of that.
Right. So because most people would obviously do a feasibility study somewhere in there, but you feel because the scale of this thing, simplicity of this thing, that you can go through to that DFS and an FID in 12 months?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, in fact, we probably did a little bit more work than you would normally do just for a pre-feasibility study, because we were pretty comfortable and confident that we were going to see this move forward. So some of the work we've done is a bit more than what you would just do for a PFS, which in the reporting terms here requires plus or minus 35% accuracy. We're advanced from that.
Okay, so and again, in terms of I referenced it earlier, the market has been not kind to precious metals for the last 4 or 5 months. You've got I don't know what you've got in cash. What, $8 million or so? Is that about right?
It's round up to 10 at the moment. Yeah.
Rounded up to 10. Okay, yeah. As of Q3, end of Q3. So you're going to burn through that relatively quickly. You've got $4 million going to exploration. You're going through the study process here. Can we expect to see you in the market in the new year?
Well, look, interestingly, I caught up with a guy on Wednesday. It's Friday here, but on Wednesday I caught up with a guy who is looking at a royalty streaming type deal as well, which is great because it's not going to require equity. I think. And one of the things I can offer is something a bit different in Australia. It's not just a plain Jane gold project, this. So if you want precious metals exposure and you can only see through history how quickly silver can move, the opportunity for us, and, there's people that tell me that silver's going to go to $50 and $70 an ounce. Well, you want to be invested in us if that's the case.
Yeah, if you live in that world with those sorts of numbers, absolutely. But you've got to have a more realistic view and cautious view of how you go about it when selecting the type of funding that you want to go for. So royalty and streaming is obviously a route to become more popular. Equities is obviously the conventional route. You're also going to want to be talking debt conversations later in the year when you're talking about the capex component. So you've got a lot of conversations around financing coming up over the next 12 months, I suspect. So what is your view of the silver market and how you approach those conversations?
Sure. First question, second question I'll answer first in that we've actually had some discussions with financiers and the typical trade banks, and we think this could probably carry 50% debt as it currently sits. But at the end of the day, you're giving something away, whether it's equity debt or royalty, you're giving something away for the shareholders at some stage. But we're not going to be silly about that. Look, I've been in the gold business for a long time, and silver's a little bit different, but I've been in precious metals for a long time. There's nothing better than pouring a bar and putting it in somebody's hands. And we'll pour bars of silver, not quite as attractive as a gold bar, but look, I'm very bullish on, and it's not just talking my own book, very bullish on gold and silver, precious metal space going forward. What the new world order might be, not quite sure, but I think gold and silver will be underpinning it.
Yeah, I think everything. Certain conversations we've had would lead us to believe that precious metals will see a bounce back in 2022. A lot of people commenting on that.
Sure. Look, that said, the project, and I've always said, as long as we're seeing something north of $30 Aussie an ounce of silver, this project's got some wheels. We ran the economics on a couple of levels, and one of them was on the historical 12-month silver price, which for us was 34. It's a little bit under that at the moment, but that said, we also ran it at 30 and 38, and there's numbers in the market that we put out. It's a screaming project at 38. $4, 10% shift in the silver price makes a huge difference to this.
Now, you just gave us a bit of a clue, and we've talked about it in the past. Your first love is gold. Are you setting this project up for someone to come in and build out and take over so you can get back to your first true love?
Well, she's sitting beside me, actually, but no, look, aside from, not really. I'd like to bring, and I've always said to bring another project into Investigator, but I'm on that position at the moment where if I actually go and grab something else right now, people will go, hang on, what's wrong with Paris? So look, we've got a few irons in the fire. We've fortunately been losing bidder on a couple of projects. And the reason I say that is that the prices were paid were out of this world and not something that I would have been able to represent. So we're still quite actively looking. Look, hopefully we can, there's a number of irons in the fire.
Okay. Well, okay, I appreciate the update. Sounds like things are set up quite nicely for 2022, and a very simple process which you've outlined to get to the point where you can start making decisions on the capex. Stay in touch. Let us know how you get on, and congratulations for 2021, by the way.
Oh, thanks very much. And there will be plenty of news flow, whether it's coming out of what we're doing in the DFS, but as I said, we've got regional drilling happening as well. Look, one of the beauties of Investigator, it's a very stable team. The geos on the ground have been with the project for 6 and 8 years, and that's almost unheard of in the Australian resource space. So we know what we're doing. We're not shy having a crack, and we've got enough money to be able to, not lurch, but push forward and complete this DFS. So look forward to talking in the future.